Hello and welcome to the Mel Carmine Show. Well, we've got a great show for you today. I'm Elisa V, and I'm here today with Mel. And Mel is going to be in the hot seat once again as we talk about some very cool stuff that he's working on. Mel, how are you today?
I'm doing great, but before we start the show, I want to send out our condolences to Chip's dad. I don't know if you guys know who Chip is. Chip is a good friend of mine, and he also has a great show on the chain. You guys should go follow him. Chip's dad, unfortunately, this morning passed away in hospice. So our condolences go out to you, Chip.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
sympathies, Chip. All right, so here we are. We are going to take a little walk back into history with Mel Carmine. As many of you know, Mel has just been an amazing force in the podcasting arena, in the truth arena, and also with all of his amazing knowledge of the QFS and XRP. And many people follow him for his unbelievable commitment to truth and to getting people to start thinking for themselves and understand what's going on. And as a result, Mel, I want to just familiarize anybody who's new because your followers kind of know your history. How did you go? Because a lot of us know that you were a pizza maker, you were an entrepreneur, you did a lot of things in this world before you ended up a podcaster. So, how did you get into podcasting? Let's take a look at that first.
Well, when I moved Amber to Costa Rica because we were trying to escape that medical procedure that a lot of us don't like, medical procedure that was before the 19 stuff, right? And I was in the energy deregulation business. We used to sell gas and electric. We used to basically have a lot of the call centers that would work for us. We have a lot of new companies that are called ESCOs, Energies Service Companies, and that's the sort of the acronym for it. And they would hunt us down because they knew that we had the relationships with the and call centers, and then we would get the contract, say at $100, argument's sake, for gas and $100 for electric. And for every customer that we would actually bring on board with a little incentive, hey, join us and we'll give you, 90 days, 10% off, whatever, to sort of bite on the hook. You have to always have a hook when you're fishing, right? And a little bit of meat on there doesn't help, or maybe a little shrimp, right? And they would bite on, and we would get in these call centers to bring in customers for these new energy service companies, and we would make a pretty good living, a very comfortable living, I would say. We would make like $20, $30 depending on a call center, and we would have literally, you know, 10, 15 call centers going at one time with different campaigns while we're making a spread of like maybe 20 or $30 on the centers that were more productive. We would make maybe $5, right? But they would bring you a larger volume of sales. And we would be hanging out in Costa Rica on the beach, making ridiculous money, traveling the countryside and traveling literally not around the world completely, but quite a bit of it. And so it was really fun because it was like a nomad's sort of wet dream, if you will, because you could do this from anywhere. As long as you have a computer and you have Google Voice and you have a way to communicate with people, it was beautiful. And we had the relationship. So then, what happened with the COVID-19 stuff, and then we got literally, it stopped, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's been a long journey, and now I said, what do I do? So I'm watching Nino Rodriguez, and I'm watching all these clowns on YouTube, and I'm saying, if these guys could do it, so can I. So I said, let's do podcasting. Never thinking it would go past, 2,000, 3,000 followers. And then they would start to literally unsubscribe. And I would go back to try and get a few more gigs with energy deregulation if it ever got revived. So that's
Right.
how this whole thing came. That's how I became a
Okay.
podcaster.
Okay. But when you started doing it, I mean, like you said, you didn't really have much, you didn't have a vision of what this really was going to turn into, and then it turned into something amazing. So as you started growing, where did your numbers go? And I'm gonna assume at that time, you tell me if that it was mostly on YouTube.
Yeah, it was all YouTube in the beginning. Actually, I digress. Let's go back from the beginning. It actually started on Telegram. I started completely the opposite of everybody else. And I was already into the quantum financial system. I knew how XRP was going to work. I saw the vision. I saw the long-term vision, etc. As a matter of fact, I just posted a video today of a long-term vision of a video that was playing 9 years ago, 8 years ago, and it's happening right now. So you got to go back some time in time to sort of, dissect the future that's coming, right? And it makes perfect sense, and it's amazing. You guys, as a matter of fact, I think I may have put it also on your Telegram channel. You might want to go watch it. It's a
Okay. And
15, yeah, it's a 15-second audio followed by a short video, which is one of the guys I love to follow on X.
okay, and my Telegram channel is Awakened Patriots of Long Island for anybody who wants to follow that as well.
Absolutely.
So, all right, so you started seeing really good numbers. You started on Telegram, you moved over to
Yeah.
YouTube, and then what happened?
Well, what happened is I started making recordings on Telegram of how I saw this quantum financial system, this new financial facelift that is long overdue that we need. And people like, these big channels like Captain Kyle and what's well, when we were friends, that little Chinese girl, which I don't want to give her any credit, she turned out to be a scam artist, and I don't hang out with
Yeah,
scam artists.
we all know who you're
Yeah,
talking
and
about.
Whiplash, and they would take my recordings and they would literally start spreading all over um, Telegram, and I would have literally sometimes I would have like hundreds of people in 1 hour join my Telegram, and I didn't know how everybody. I had no idea where these people were coming from. Is I wasn't advertising it. I'm saying, how
Yeah.
does this happen? So I talked to my friend Sandra. Said, "What's going on? Why are all these people joining my Telegram? I didn't even want a big channel and talk to a lot of people. It was not even in the plans." And so Sandra said, "There's a link on above your audio. That link, if you click it, it takes you directly to your website. So when people take your audios and spread them around, and people want to know who you are, they just click that link, and automatically they are able to join your Telegram group." I'm like, wow, how genius, right? And the thing
Yeah.
just started going to the tens of thousands. And then I said, what the hell? Let's parlay this over into YouTube, and that's how it started.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, like everybody else, you've had your share of censorship on your channel, right? I mean,
Yes.
when did you start seeing that and what was what happened? I mean, because a lot of people like yourself were monetizing. I mean, if you're doing a podcast and you're bringing information and you're sharing, you have to make money somehow, right? And so these platforms at the time offered opportunities for people like you, to start making money. But then what happened? Because this is what many people are going to identify with what you're telling now.
Well, what happened was I immediately grew to from 0 to 3,000. I remember my brother called me, and my brother's name is Fortune, by the way, ironically. Fortune called me and he said, "Congratulations, you got to 3,000 people." And I said, "Don't worry about it." So they're going to start unsubscribing as early as tomorrow, and I'll go the other way. I said, "I'm not going to let this thing get to my head." So anyway, 3,000 not a big deal, and it just kept going and going and going. And when I get to like 6, 7, 8,000, 10,000 even, I'm getting 50, 60, 70, 80,000 views on one video was very common. And unfortunately, I self cannibalized myself because I was always paranoid. And I learned this from Nino Rodriguez. So thank you, Nino. Uh, he goes in and starts to like delete videos. I do the same thing because you never know when these guys can go. These guys have gone back as far as like 2 years and say, "We're going to give you a strike here. We're going to give you a strike here," and boom, and just shut you down, which
Oh,
is
wow.
so wrong on so many levels. But anyway, long story short, once I got past the 10,000, because I had videos I was getting, like, for example, classic example, the guy that just passed away with the State National, what's his name? David Strait. David
Yeah.
Strait came on my channel. In 3 days, we had 129,000 views on one channel, right? I think at that point, I already had a second channel. It was unbelievable. It was just like literally blowing up. So then we get to like the 40, 30, 40, 50,000, and they're starting to gradually put the brakes on, gradually put the brakes on. I'm just like, I'm going to my back office to look at the numbers, and I'm seeing this thing sort of somebody else is in charge here at this point. I'm up to 30,000 and I'm getting maybe 15, 16,000 views per video. What's wrong with this picture? I was at the 10,000, eight
Right.
thousand, and I was getting 129,000, 60, 70, 80, 90,000, and now I'm getting, right?
Yeah.
So everybody, and I start to listen to people saying that we're being censored, we're being shadow banned, all these cliche words that live on. If you're a YouTuber, you understand what those words mean.
And when did that start for you, Mel? Like when did you really start to
It
notice
started
the
like 3 years ago, like immediately after I blew up, and
Okay.
you start to notice now. It's like now I got one channel with 50,000 or 51,400. I forget the number exactly, and it took like 7 months to get from 50,400 to 50,500. And you know the kind of content we're putting out. So at one point,
Yeah.
my wife was like pissed at me. She's saying, "Why aren't you putting out some content thing?" Because I was doing like two, three podcasts a day sometimes, never less than one, always one
Yeah.
minimum. But right, I'm like, why should I break myself if someone else is in charge of the treadmill I'm running on, and I don't have access to the controls. They
Yeah.
dictate how fast I can go, who sees my channel, who doesn't see my channel. I said, this is like, craziness to try and go fast on something that somebody else is controlling that says, no, you cannot go fast because you talk too much truth, and people are not allowed to know that much truth,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's why I slowed it down.
Yeah. All right, so now here we are, right? Summer of 2025. So I remember we were just having a conversation, maybe, what was it? Maybe about 3 months ago, something like that. We were
Hmm.
just having a conversation on one of our weekly podcasts, The Forecast at 4 o'clock Eastern, that we have live every week. And you just mentioned this idea. We started talking about how everybody was experiencing censorship in one form or another, whether it be like getting stuff taken down or just not growing, right? How is
Yeah.
it possible? Everybody's putting this great content, great people, in excuse me, information, and you're just not growing. Nobody's watching it. Just seems pretty strange. And you said, gee, wouldn't it be great if we somehow could get a message to the president and get him to realize to the extent that everybody's being affected. And this was just like a conversation we were having, a video, just get a video to him, telling him, and he can make the change in this. So what happened after that? Because that's when it all kind of blew up, right?
Well, let me rewind before that, which is the
Okay.
part of the story that you don't know. Before
Okay.
that, our editors and I were already strategizing in that one day soon, immediately right after Donald Trump got elected, actually, we're going to make a documentary. And I had already started writing some ideas down and, honed it in as best as I can. And it made sense, to our chief editor to at some point move forward. So the idea was hatched way before we had that conversation on a live call. But the reality is that when we talked to you guys, it was like a feeding frenzy. It was like, oh yeah, we should do a documentary. Yeah, we should do this and we should do that. And everybody had an idea of what they want to bring to the table. And the outpouring of supporting as far as like volunteers. We got Michelle coming to the table. As a matter of fact, I got to introduce you to her. I talked to Gary Frenchy the other day. What an incredible guy. I mean, I had maybe a 20-minute, 25-minute conversation with him. And I got into this like gangster, Sicilian, Brooklyn, New York state of mind. And I said, brother, they don't even see me coming. You know who I'm talking about, right? I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
I'm going to cut their jugular vein. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to finish my espresso and I'm going to watch them bleed out. I said, they have no idea what's about to hit this medium that they think that they are totally in control. If when we the people come together, they don't realize how powerful we are. We're much more powerful than them by a factor of 100 million, and we
Yeah.
are. So
Mhm.
if we can have our cake and eat it too, because our forefathers, if they had a looking glass situation, for example, back 300 years ago, where they could look into the future, right, and realize the level of technology that we're going to be inheriting, they would have wrote it right into the Constitution that no tech company can ever, infringe on the speech of Mel Carmine, Elisa Valentino, and all the other 100 million
Yeah.
podcasters out there. Correct?
Yeah, it's so true. Like, if you just like, not to digress, but in the Constitution, like they did foresee that there was going to be changes, like when it comes to Second Amendment, because they said bear arms, right? They didn't say musket, they didn't say gun,
Exactly.
whatever the arms would be, right?
Right.
But when it comes to freedom of speech, right, they were dealing primarily with the printing press at that time, and the simplicity and now who knew that all of this was going to happen? But it doesn't matter if it's the printing press or it's the internet. It's all the same. It's all the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
So
tell us about this amazing, I mean, I think it's absolutely amazing. And I think what your vision for this documentary that started off, like you said, you were thinking about it behind the scenes, but then kind of, telling everyone like, gee, it would be nice to get a letter, or get something to the president, not knowing, that you already were planning this. So let's talk about the documentary, Dear Mr. President. So what was your vision? How are things coming along? And then we'll talk about like where we are with some of this because there's some
sure.
great stuff happening.
Yeah, let me exit this window. I'm going to give you the rights to share your window, and you can share the documentary trailer here at some point. But okay, so basically, I thought at some when we actually started to have that feeding frenzy, it made all the sense in the world to really go out full blown documentary. Now, I don't have any experience in doing documentaries, but I do have experience in a lot of little short films, and I've made some extremely compelling commercials with my voice
Hmm.
for example, for Staying Alive, our healing center in Cape Canaveral, which you'll see the links down below. Okay. And those commercials are top notch, as if, I had paid some guy that's been doing it for 39 years. And not to toot my own horn, but when I do something, I put all my heart and soul into it. And you win with your heart, you win with your soul, you win with
Right.
passion, right? I'm all about the passion. And so I'm a wordsmith. I like to, dissect words and move things around. And sometimes it may take me, 3, 4 days, 5 days to write a commercial that's 35 seconds long. But I want pure perfection to have the most high impact to the people that I'm trying to reach. And I've had some
Yeah.
amazing commercials, even though, we paid YouTube to put them out there and then they send me bots to my website thinking that I'm stupid. Okay. We found an actual, I'm talking about censorship. This is censorship. You want to know about censorship? We paid for a commercial of a guy that says I'm dying. I was dying from that thing called CR that we're not allowed to mention here
Hmm.
because they think they own the fucking word. Don't get me started. Okay. And he's crying. And if you watch that 1 minute spot, you'll cry too. And I'm paying 50, $60 a day for months and months and months and months, only to find this one video that says, if you're spending money on YouTube for holistic healing and you got something that actually works, stop. Stop right there. Don't do it because they're sending bots to your freaking website to give you the illusion that. So not only we're being paid, we're paying them to censor us
Yeah.
because Big Pharma is one of the biggest lobbyists in Washington and biggest lobbyists with social media. They could throw as much money as they want to make sure that things are tilted on their favor and not our favor. Meanwhile, we have
Yeah.
something that works. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Yeah.
so the censorship is far and wide. I'm not the only one. Gary Frenchie, I talked to Gary Frenchie. Gary Frenchie's been around as long as Alex Jones. I think Alex Jones came out and then Gary Frenchie was born there 6 months later. Gary Frenchie's been at this for 30 years for crying out loud. He's
Yeah.
been at this since the inception of what? YouTube. And he's got 2,225,000 subscribers. And if you watch his show, he is amazing. He has amazing guests. He has amazing content. He's obviously was able to critique his craft. He's able to deliver with as good as anybody who's mainstream media who lies to you but telling you the truth. And he's not allowed to tell you the truth because I had a conversation with him and I said, as a hypothetical, I said, Gary, you should be a minimum 5 million. He said, no, 20 million. And I agree with him.
Minimum. For someone who's been on that long with a
Right.
following, right? I mean, you know what? Look at it this way. Go on YouTube at any time and look up something ridiculous and innocuous.
Yeah.
Just silly videos or a lot of these doctors, they have these videos on different like, skin treatments, whatever, and they have like 20 million views. They have, and you're telling me that there's not as many people out there in the world that are watching someone like Gary Frenchie. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean,
Common
I've
sense
been
tells you.
following the next news network. I as just about as long as I've been following Alex Jones. I mean, the guy gets to meet Donald Trump coming off the helicopter and gets to ask him a question. He's an accredited, real, journalist with the credentials to be able to go to the White House. That's amazing. They're censoring that guy. And
Yeah.
Gary Frenchie, bless his heart, he's been telling the truth forever. But he's not allowed to tell the truth. That's why they got him stifled at least 10 times from where he should be. And it's wrong because if he's got 10 times, if we're right, and he's got 10 times less, okay, of audience, and they've done 30 years or 25 years or 28 years or however long he's been on the air. It's been a long time.
Right.
It's been more than 2.5 decades for sure. Okay. And I could tell you if that's true, and it is, that means they stole 25 years worth of income from him. Because if he's supposed to be at 20, see, if we had a level playing field and Gary Frenchie was supposed to be at 2.2 million, whatever, 250,000, right? How much income has been lost?
Right.
How much damages have been incurred? Think about that for a second.
A lot. A lot. And there's two, I mean, people obviously are trying to get their message out. There's good information, there's valuable information, whether it's about health, whether it's about the financial system, whether it's about governance, all these topics, right? So that's the first disservice, let's say, if we're
Right.
going to say it, that's happening. And then it's the monetary aspect of it, because people that are trying to help other people, whatever that is, yourself, we come on here, we try to impart information. So they're taking away the information, but then on top, by preventing it, however they do it, preventing people from accessing it in searches, or I don't know that enough about tech to know how that works, but I know that, they're doing something. And then they also go to the point where people they're just being told to take things down, or their channels are being completely taken down.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's
but
like
then,
I
like
can't
you
even
said,
talk
it's some
about.
financial.
Yeah,
People are relying on this.
I can't even talk about Gary Frenchie with passion because it's my passion, I think, that's stifling me. Because I talk with such conviction that
Yeah.
YouTube knows this guy is so passionate. People are going to believe him. We got to slow him down,
Yeah.
right? You know me in person. You met me in person. This is how I talk when the fucking microphone and the cameras aren't rolling. This is
Yeah.
who Mel Carmine is. I'm total passion. You shut this thing down. You have a conversation about something that deserves passion. Mel Carmine brings the passion. Am I
Hmm.
right or am I wrong?
Completely right. All right. So you got fed up, as many people have, but you took the initiative to actually put that into action. So tell everybody, let's talk about Dear Mr. President.
Well, the movie is designed to hopefully land on Donald Trump's desk. If not Donald Trump's desk, hopefully Donald Trump's sons and daughters, and maybe they could chew his ear that he should stop an hour and 20 minutes, because that's what I think the full version is going to be. We're going to have a cut down version, sort of like the bonfire guy. You got a full version, then you got a cut down version that's like 45 minutes. We're going to have two
Right.
versions of it at some point down the road. And if I can have my cake and eat it too, it'll be translated in Italian, in Mandarin, Chinese, and Spanish, those three languages immediately, and hopefully Russian and other languages as well. So that's going to be like a later project to translate it into those languages, because I'm sure America is not the only country that's experiencing censorship. This is a
Yeah.
global phenomenon, right? And we're gonna put an end to it. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you got money to bet, not to make myself sound like a badass, but I am a pretty badass. Okay, bet it on Mel Carmine. We're gonna win this thing. You know why? Because the people are just too powerful when they stand together. And that's one of the crazy things that I can't understand why what's his ninja, economic ninja, ghosting me. Nino Rodriguez ghosting me, or he's too busy. I don't know. There's no excuse not to make a 45-second video that says, Dear Mr. President, my name is Nino Rodriguez, and I'm fed up with the bullshit. Okay, you can't tell me I'm just as busy. All you cats out there, I run businesses, as in plural, many. Okay, I run podcasts. I run 7 channels. I got 4 Telegram channels. I'm busy too. I got dogs. I got a family. I got a wife to entertain. All of that stuff. So don't give me the bullshit that you're ghosting me and I'm fighting for you, because if Mel Carmine is successful, and he will be, in leveling the fucking playing field, because I'm going to get to the right years. What's going to end up happening here is, if that level playing field ever goes to where it's completely 100 trillion% fair, that means that you can grow unimpeded. I'm doing you a favor I'm not charging for the movie. Why don't you do me a favor and make me a 45-second video?
So let's talk about, all right, so let's talk now about who is, who has stepped up to the plate with you. Who are those people? Because I know, just being in part of the production team, we have gotten a lot of people and a lot of cooperation from some pretty passionate people, right?
Yes, we have gotten cooperation from middle-sized podcasters, and the biggest one, because you see, like when podcasters that are like a 500,000, like Ninja, say no to me and they're ghosting me, and I know you're ghosting me, dude, and I'll buy you another drink and I'll smack you in the back of the head when I see you. Okay, but the reality is, I don't like being ghosted. Okay, when guys like 500,000 people are ghosting me, and Nino Rodriguez is scratching 500,000 are ghosting me, and other ones like that as well. You know what I do? I go big or go bigger. I go right for the Gary Frenchies, who's got 2 million, even though he's stifled and he understands that. He's got 4 times the size of your audience because Mel Carmine is not going to be stopped.
Tell everybody a little bit about just try to explain. I don't want to do it for you because you have so much passion about it. Explain what this documentary looks like, meaning what were you trying to bring across in it? Like what was the mission? Obviously, the ultimate mission is to get this in front of the president somehow, some way, bring an end, punish these people, stop the censorship. But in making the film, what
The,
what
the,
what did you want to bring out in
yeah,
it?
I'm glad you asked that question. That's a very important question. The question, the way I would answer that question is like this. It's created on a very educational level of standpoint because we want the average person that maybe doesn't understand how we're being censored or why we're being censored. We want you to understand the mechanics behind the machine on how they're doing it, so that and it's on a fifth grade level, sixth grade level of education. Anybody will be able to understand what they're doing to us. And we want to get to the point where we piss you off. So because when you hit that notification bell, because you want to see Elisa Valentino, or you want to see Nino Rodriguez, or you want to see, Gary Frenchie, and
Mhm.
I come up with a show, everybody who hit that notification bell should be notified, but they're not. And we're going to show you exactly verbatim how all of the mechanical pieces work behind the scenes and how they're doing it. And that's what's going to piss the shit out of a lot of people. And then we have, podcaster after podcaster after podcaster in their own words expressing their level of dissatisfaction. And this has now been going on for well over 15 years. They started with Alex Jones. Alex Jones is the poster child of censorship. Love the guy.
Well, Mel, I don't know if I 100% agree with you because, in some way, shape, or form, they've been censoring longer than that. We just weren't aware of it.
Well,
They
they started 20 years ago,
maybe
slowly.
longer.
Yeah,
And when I
maybe
say
longer.
longer, because they've determined, okay, with tech, but you go beyond that, you go to radio, you go to TV, right? Before we had the internet, right? And it was just what their message was. They didn't allow for the counterpoint a lot of times. They made sure that there was a control factor over what people were able to say and what they weren't. So, this is a problem that's been around for a long time. Now here we find ourselves in 2025. And I think because of the internet and big tech, it's more obvious. You know what I mean? Now we actually could look at numbers, we could look at views, and now it's not just a theory that we have. Like maybe they're censoring people what people have to say. Now we could actually look and go in our back offices and see declines and dips and all this stuff. And we know that like we're growing and getting more popular. So now there's sort of nowhere to hide, I guess is what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like now
yeah,
we really know that, this is something that's being done. So okay, so the film is about educating. It's about letting people understand the truth so that it ignites something in them where they are going to be angry and they're going to be, start to realize. I mean, average people, I talk to average people all the time. First of all, it
mhm.
amazes me how many, and when I say average people, I'm talking
All
professionals.
right, hold on. Sorry about that. I wasn't supposed to hit the play button yet.
Okay, okay, yeah, well, I'm excited for everybody to see this. I'm talking about
Hold on. Here we go.
professionals,
Yeah.
educated people, business people, they've never even heard of Rumble, which just blows my
Right.
mind,
Yeah.
right? Then you take the next step and say, well, there's a lot of censorship. And they're like, what do you mean? So that's just like the average person. That, you know what I'm saying? Like the podcasters,
Sure.
the people, we understand that. So again, it's because of the censorship that people don't understand how censored everything is, right?
Exactly correct.
All right, so let's show this. You have it queued up.
Yeah, I have
Let's
it
show
all queued up.
this is a trailer. This is the latest trailer, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's take a look at this.
All right.
Dear Mr. President.
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 Dear Mr. President, when did freedom of speech become a crime? In the land of the free, voices are vanishing, opinions are policed, truth is under fire. They say it's about safety, I say it's about silence. Who's watching the watchmen? Who's filtering your feed? Who benefits from your silence? From the classroom to the newsroom, from Silicon Valley to Washington, D.C., who decides what you can say?
Censorship.
Censorship. Censorship.
The censorship. Censorship. It's a much bigger threat to democracy than anything that we've seen in this country in the last 4 years, in the last 40 years.
Our First Amendment is under assault, not just by big tech, but by government agencies. Voices are being silenced.
A world without censorship would mean we can freely expose the elections and, of course, child trafficking. I believe the American spirit would kick in if they had access to the real information.
We've had channels taken down from nearly every form of social media. We knew when you uttered the term fake news that you were up to something different. We're honored to contribute to this documentary on censorship.
I have only one thing to ask. I just only want to see some accountability from somebody. Just pull that pin and throw that grenade already, buddy. That's all every American wants to see, is just some accountability for the crimes against us all. Thank you, sir. And long live the Republic.
I mean, we got great staff. We got people that are very qualified to put movies together. When you got that kind of quality going on, it's unquestionable. The documentary. Sometimes, yeah, you watch a movie, trailer, and then the movie's a flop once in a while. But most times you could tell that that's a good trailer. Chances are we're gonna have a good movie here, right? And but I could tell you that the movie is 10 times more exciting than the trailer in this case.
Yeah. So, all right. So what's your goal now? What's next to
The goal is
get
to
this
try and get
documentary?
the goal is to try and get as many movie theaters as possible. And I got some little footnotes here, my cheat sheet, if you will. And I'm going to give you an example too before I go through my cheat sheet. For example, I'm a gun lover. I like to go shooting, etc. I own guns. I got bullets, etc. I'm not allowed to brandish a gun. There was a video I did 3.5 years ago, with yours truly, Razor, who you had the pleasure of interviewing a few times, who's a character, and he brandished his gun accidentally in my video. Do you know that they took that video down and they gave me a strike for brandishing a gun? Here is how crazy this is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that there are channels on YouTube that promote guns? And they shoot in their backyard, and they have targets in their backyard, and they push ammo and they push guns and they make money pushing guns. But
So
I'm
what do
not
you
a,
think?
I'm not a
So
gun
what's-
channel. I'm not allowed to have a gun on my channel. Can you fucking
Oh.
believe that?
Yeah. Well, that's the excuse.
Yeah. So guys, if you need, we got to pay the bills around here. If you need gold or silver, 786-704-8817. 786-704-8817. Send me a text message. I need to buy gold. I need to buy silver. We can help you out with that anywhere in the United States, unlimited. Okay. Stayingalive.com, alive with two E's if you're in Cape Canaveral, or if you know somebody in Cape Canaveral who's sick, they need to come and get energized because, see, they have cars that run on electricity. Well, the bodies are also very electric. They don't tell you that. Okay. Except you're not supposed to know that there's a place where you could go charge the body just like you could charge your Tesla. And when your cells are optimized to 90 millivolts, magic happens. The body starts to heal itself, not the machines. The machines are not medical devices. Okay. And if you need to buy a large amount of XRP, 10,000 or a million or 10 million, and I got those kinds of customers, you also contact me in the same number, 786-704-8817. Send me your full name, how much you want to buy, nothing less than 10,000, and there's no maximum. Again, I'll say it, nothing less than 10,000. Mel, can I do 3,000? No. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, no. Okay, the next time, once you get initiated, then you can go in for 3,000, 4,000, 6,000, whatever. But the first initiation, so that we separate the men from the boys and the boys from the girls and all that, 10,000, right? Send me a text message. So anyway, what other questions would you like to ask me?
Well, when is everybody, when is this going to be available? What are we looking at on
if we're not delayed, it will be August 17th, right? But you never know. There could be a little bit delay. We don't know yet. And
yeah, a lot goes into this. This is a big project.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But we'll see what happens. But we have a lot of, we got a few movie theaters now that are actually interested, that we're sort of circling back with them. We now have a lot of the EE Center owners all over the United States and some even overseas that will be showing it to their people. It's going to be, this is going to catch the eye of a lot of people, I think. But let me tell you this. If you think this documentary is going to piss off the podcasters and the people who are opted into us, who are not receiving the information, and when you understand how the machine works behind the scenes, etc., the next documentary that Mel Carmine, which is already on the drawing boards, we're not touching it yet. It's just an idea. We already have the title for it. I'm going to simultaneously piss off the living shit. You get ready to be pissed off more than ever before when you find out what we know to be true, because we did it. We got to the source, and I won't tell you anything more, and it's very real, and you're not allowed to know about it. And when you know about it, because I'm going to show the proof beyond a shadow of a doubt, irrevocable, irrefutable evidence, I'm going to piss off 360 million Americans. Get ready, that's coming.
All right, so we got something on the horizon. As far as this is concerned, I want to just make people aware that, or maybe you can either post in the description box or somewhere on the dearmrpresident.net website, that all those venues and locations that we already know, right? If you're saying that the EE centers are going to be previewing this, we should have hopefully a list of all these places that we start getting up there, because people should start to get this on their radar and be aware of what's in their area, their state, their city, so that they can, have it on their radar to be ready to tell their friends, tell their families, like, hey, right in the next town, there's going to be a screening of Dear Mr. President, so let's all get together and let's keep telling lots of people. And I think that would be a really good thing for us to do, because if people could go on there, maybe by state, if it's out of the country and it's other countries and those locations, we're not talking that far away that this is going to be hitting. And we want people to put it on their radar. So right now, the tentative release date is August 17th. That is subject to change. So, people will be able to see.
Hopefully not. But that's subject to change. But hopefully not.
Yeah. And we want people to have the access, because what part of what I'm doing as one of the co-producers of this is trying to line up some real movie theaters that can show this. And obviously, if anybody's listening to this and an independent, you have a local theater, obviously the big chains, that's a little hard, they work a little differently. But a lot of times the mom and pops, especially if they're patriots, they would very much want to be able to do a screening, obviously obviously we're not getting money on this. We're not charging. So obviously we're looking for those theaters that are be willing to screen it for free. And obviously promote the other ways that they make money, whether it's through the concessions or just build a nice trust with that theater so people go back all the time for other movies and, bring in some revenue. Trying to think of a few more things.
Opt in.
Yeah,
Opt in this way you get an email letting you know that, hey, we have pre-selected the date when the movie is going to be released, and boom, voila, you can go ahead and watch the movie at that time. So
yeah.
if you opt
Now,
in,
Mel,
go to go ahead.
if people aren't like we're trying to get these movie theaters, we're trying to get it where people could actually go to a physical venue. What is the way people are going to actually be able to watch it? Is it going to be that it's going to be put up on the site? Like, explain that to
Well,
people.
yeah, we're doing a press release, which you're in charge of with my wife, and hopefully Michelle now is going to join forces with you to get the trifecta going. So I got a lot of women. I believe in women. I'm not racist, okay? And like Donald Trump, I have a lot of the same character traits. I saw talent in her. I said, you should be much bigger than what you are. Let's work. Let's work together as co-hosts, and she's going to blow up. There's no question in my mind. But yeah, in regards to the movie theaters, look, I don't know what movie theaters are going to be available, but if we could squeeze a press release in with the name of the movie theaters where it's going to be playing, we'll put it out there. And if we could distribute it through, Telegram and YouTube and Rumble, we'll do that as well, obviously. But we're not going to know. People are starting to realize, hey, this could be something very important. This could be something very serious, and this could be something that's going to change the dynamics of history for maybe 1,000 years to come, right? And
Okay, so we're obviously we're trying to get into the theaters and we're looking for anybody out there who can help us. We're
yes,
open to everybody
I don't care if
helping.
you have a motorcycle club with 1,000 people, you want to show it to your motorcycle club, or an
That's
EE
right.
center, or a corporation that wants to show it to their members or their employees, whatever. Union clubs, anybody in any big, large groups, get in touch with us. You can contact us through stayingalive.com with a double E, and they will tell you exactly how to opt in. They'll put you in the master sheet, which is an Excel spreadsheet. So all the movie theaters, clubs, motorcycle clubs, EE centers, whoever wants to show it to a large group is going to get the email all at the same time. You're going to get a link sent to you specifically, where it's not going to be public knowledge. That link is going to allow you to download the highest resolution possible, which is 1080. Okay, so that you get a good quality picture for your audience, and then whatever you use, whether it's a big screen TV or projector, cue it up and let's go, and show it more than
Yeah.
once. If you have a business like an EE center, you might want to have a movie night that starts on say a Saturday, do a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be less than 2 hours anyway, and we got to get the word out. So the more times you can show it, I know we're going to be probably doing it minimum 2 days, Saturday and Sunday here in Cape Canaveral, and we're going to be doing a breakfast, lunch, dinner type of seating. So it'll be like morning, afternoon, and then evening.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm so
Yeah.
honored to be part of this project. And, just a little plug, like you said, we all have to pay the bills. If you just had it, I have so many people now that I see in my coaching practice that are just people like us, patriots, truth tellers that are so frustrated. They don't know where to go to talk and to get some coaching and to stay in that high vibration because it's so hard with everything that's coming out. So always feel free to contact me at elisavalentino.com. And don't forget to mark your calendars for every Monday at 4 o'clock Eastern that you want to tune into the forecast. I mean, we've got our regular crew, Mel, myself, Mike Barra, Laura Eisenhower. Sometimes people are, they're traveling. But we've got George Lewis now, who's part of it. Ron Partain joins. And of course, our own Carol Maureen Friesen, who's just amazing. And what a job she's done on this documentary. So you don't want to miss it. It goes live on, Mel, tell everybody where it is on Rumble to tune in.
Rumble, my channel, you mean?
Yeah, it's
XRPQFS
XRPQFS team.
team altogether. Yeah. The one
Yeah,
that's got 30,100 subscribers that's not allowed to grow. It's been
right.
stuck there for months and months and months. As a matter of fact, I was 31,200. They scaled me back because I'm a dangerous man.
Yeah.
you know? So
You know,
anyway,
and we all have the power. Like, I just want to tell everybody, just because we're not getting the views, which, you know, is the whole reason for this documentary, please share. Every time you see these videos, just share them, just send them, you know, text them, email them, you know, hit the share button, because that's the way the message we're going to beat. For right now, we're going to beat this whole censorship thing by just making sure we're doing it just like we got through the last 8 years, you know, digital soldiering, you know, getting things out and sharing everything. Please share our videos with the information if you find it, you know, interesting and knowledge based for you. Make sure you share it with other people as well.
yeah. Hopefully, in the next 6 months, we're going to have a new, tweaked First Amendment. Okay, we're going to have a Bill of Rights that reinforces the First Amendments, that it can never be tampered with ever again, making it bulletproof, nuclear proof, whatever you want to call it. And then what happens? If Lisa Valentino is only good enough to get to 1 million subscribers on her own, wonderful. I'm sure she'll accept that number. If that's, but it's got to be based on you, the audience, saying, "Hey, we like her." Great. If she's good enough for 10 million, you'll know because you'll go to that number, right? It shouldn't be some tech giants with some strings behind the scenes, behind the curtain, controlling our every freaking move. That day is going to come to an abrupt end, I promise. Thank you, guys. If you listen this far, get the word out. Dear Mr. President.net, Dear MR President.net, not .com. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye, Mel.
Bye.